He's an award-winning public speaker and the executive director for Revo Lead Solutions Limited. And today we're going to talk about networking. Now, of course, networking isn't just about exchanging business cards. We believe that it's about building relationships that open doors to new opportunities. But how do you transform casual connections into meaningful partnerships that can drive career and business growth? And that's why we're having this conversation this morning. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you're a professional climbing the corporate ladder, or someone looking to expand your influence, this conversation will give you some practical steps to network with purpose and turn connections into lasting value. His name is Pa Kwesi Folsing. Yeah, and he's in studio this morning with me for us to have this conversation. One more time, he's an award-winning public speaker and the executive director for Revo Lead Solutions Limited. Pa, good morning.
Good morning, Trebi.
Charlie, how are you?
Amazing to be here, Charlie. I do.
Yeah, I do. Great to see you, Charlie. It's been a long time.
Charlie, it's been a while. When was the last time I saw? I think the last time I saw it was like Kempinski.
Yeah, Kempinski. Yeah, remember it was the SDG Summit.
Yeah. That was when. I think it was like November or something. Yeah. Charlie, crazy.
Good to see you again. Yeah. Anyway, we're live on our social media platforms. We are live on Instagram, Facebook, and X as ZFMGH. Instagram, Facebook, and X as ZFMGH. And you can as well join the conversation. Send us the questions, your thoughts, your comments on 0544321019. 0544321019. But we're talking about networking this morning. Mm-hmm. Let's start the conversation from here. What does networking mean to you?
So, then again, thank you for having me. It's amazing to be here. So, when you talk about networking, and I love the topic of today, leveraging networking for what? Business and career growth.
Success, yeah.
Career success, okay. When I saw that topic, two main keywords or two topics or two things popped out, which is networking and what? Growth. So what we are trying to essentially say is that networking has some correlation to growth, especially with regards to your business or your career. So networking, let's just make it this simple and then we proceed to other things. So networking is simply the process of making a connection or building a relationship for a definite purpose. Let me say that again.
Yeah,
networking is the process of making a connection or building a relationship for a definite purpose. So when you are making a connection or you have a relationship, ultimately there should be an end goal. Okay, that's where a lot of people don't end up messing up networks, or that's why they are not able to successfully network because they don't attach an end goal to whatever they're doing. So why exactly are you networking with this person? Okay, you don't just go around networking with everybody, adding people into your circle, adding people into your network and your connections and your relationship life, all because you are just doing it for the networking sake. It doesn't work like that. You should have a purpose. You should have a goal so that everything that you do, all your networking efforts are streamlined and very focused. Yeah.
But why is it a critical tool for business or success, career success?
Okay, absolutely. So everything in life, literally, every form of elevation that comes to life comes from another person. Right. No matter what. Whether you are in a company, you get promoted from your boss, your superiors, literally. Anything you are doing, everything that, for example, I'm here because you're in my network, okay?
Right.
So everything rises and falls on network, on networking. Let me put it that way. Everything rises and falls on networking. So when you want to ascend to a higher level in whatever realm or field that you may be in, you're just one network away, literally. So it's so essential for that. The word grow, first of all, I think we'll have to then clarify terms, okay? The word grow, and then again, for people listening to me, I'm somebody who has been studying etymology since 2018. Etymology is simply the study of the origin of root words and stuff. So the word grow comes from an Old English word known as growan, which simply means to increase or to flourish. Exactly. So when we are talking about growth, we are talking about you being able to increase or flourish within whatever you are doing, whether it's your business, whether it's your career. So then networking helps us to be able to, for example, if I'm running a business, when I'm able to network, I can be able to get a supplier who will be able to give me discounts on stuff. So it helps, or I'm able to get connected to a particular thing that a lot of people are just not aware of, so that I can leverage on that and tap on it to be able to exponentially grow me on whatever I do. So essentially, that's really about networking, and it's really critical for business and career growth. Like, it's so important. It's tremendously important if you are trying to really succeed.
Right.
So that's what I can say for now.
Right. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how has the concept of networking
Right.
evolved over the years?
Right. Okay. So I mean, then again, you're taking me back to etymology stuff.
Right.
So when you, first of all, a network in those times used to refer to rivers and those kind of things. Like, it was just like an interlock of things. I mean, it's a net.
Right.
So, I mean, networking is two words, net and work.
Right.
Okay, so it's like the interlock of things. You see, when you see a net is almost like
Meeting another.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's knotted.
Right.
So basically, that's what that was about. And then over time, it was used for broadcasts, as in because of telecommunications, the advent of telecommunication and broadcasting networks. Then later, in like the mid 90s, it started to mean an interconnected group of people,
Right.
which is where we are right now. So when I look at that and I begin to understand network, that as in an interconnected group of people, it's really about how you can be able to build a group of people around your life that will allow you to really ascend to any type of level that you want. So with that being said, there are two types of networks. There's something called your default network, and there's something called your strategic network. So your default network are the people that you naturally interact with, or who happen to naturally be in your life. So, for example, your classmates from school, you don't really... So, in fact, let me even say this. There are actually three types of networks. Right. So, there's default network, there's strategic network, and there's something called strategic default network. Okay, I'll explain that in my course of my submission, in the course of my submission. Right. So, the default network are the people who are already within your space. Okay, so you go to a church. Those are the people you naturally interact with. Okay, right. It's not per se you intentionally going out of your way to be able to do something. They just happen to be in your environment. They just happen to be within your geographical space. So because of that proximity, it then gives you the ability to just know somebody. Okay, so a lot of us grew up with people within our area. You are just living somewhere, and then all of a sudden you see somebody walking, and then the person becomes your friend, and they become your lifelong networking partner. So that happens. So those are your default networks. Strategic network is you deliberately or intentionally going out of your way to be able to network with somebody for a definite purpose. So this is where you strategically pick things. Probably you start going to you join a particular club, you go to events, whatever it may be. That's what you were doing. It's very strategic. So you have a strategic network. You also have a default network. Probably, I mean, right from school, you've made friends that you did not intentionally plan to say, okay, this person is going to be my friend. Right. The person just happened to be in your class. Said, oh, Trebi, can you pass me the pen? And he said, or you said, oh, do you have a spare pen? And he said, okay, yes, I do. But what's your name? My name is Trebi. What's your name? My name is, and then that's it. That's what happened. It's just default. It just happens by default. So your default network, your strategic network. But then it comes another level called the strategic default, whereby some people intentionally choose a default setting to plug their lives in. So, for example, I decide that, okay, I'm going to start going to this particular church because I'm going to choose this church because this church is a rich church. Maybe only rich people go to this church. Right. I know, there are some rich churches. And then some people start going there because they know that once I go into that place, that network over there will automatically be my default network. Okay. So some people end up... So even with schools, some parents intentionally choose. My dad was like that. He intentionally put me in schools where there are a lot of rich kids there. Okay. So I had the opportunity to be around people whose parents were well-to-do, who were financially stable. Right. So that was the environment that I happened to be in, and so it was a strategic move, but it ended up being my default network. Right. Okay, right. So it's strategic defaults, whereby you intentionally choose a default setting you strategically choose a default setting so that will become part of your network. So that's really the concept of networking. Okay. And then again, there are different levels of networking. So there's upward networking, there's sideways networking, and there's downwards networking. Right. Okay, so upwards, this is where you are networking with people who are who are in another sense, I should say, higher than you within a particular space. So it could be your office, and the person could be your same age. The person could be the same age in the same office, but the person has a higher position. That is upward networking. Okay. Then we have sideways networking. These are people who are your peers, who are exactly at where you are in life, or who are within your level. Okay. So it's not necessarily your age mate. It could be your age mates, most likely, but most of the time it's just people who are within the same level as you in whatever environment you may find yourself in. Then number 3, these are people who are then below you. So they are below you within the space. They may be older than you, but they are below you within the space. So then they come to you and they tap knowledge from you just because of the level of networking that you are in. So if you are in a step higher than them within a particular organization, foundation, whatever entity may be, then it changes everything. So that's really about everything. So the upward networking, sideways networking, and then downward networking. So with that being said, when it comes to networking, and remember what I said about growan. Growan, that is the old English word for grow. Is was to increase. When you think about increase, when I don't know about you, but when I think about increase, I'm thinking about app, right? So what that means is that the fastest way to be able to grow is to network app.
Okay. The fastest way to be able to grow
is to network app.
Okay.
Because increase is what? App. Okay. So if I think about growing, so if I'm thinking about growing, if I'm trying to grow and growth signals upward mobility, then if I'm networking and I'm trying to really advance or grow, then I have to also follow suit in terms of that upward movement. So most of the networking that will literally exponentially grow you within the short term, let me just be clear, within the short term will have to be done through upward networking.
Yes. Right. We'll look into, there are a lot of things that come to play.
Absolutely.
I mean, networking upward. We'll probably come to that very soon. But what is the biggest misconception when it comes to networking?
The biggest misconception to me when it comes to networking is this same thing. That's why I said for the short term. Is you just networking upwards. A lot of people think that all of their opportunities
will come from people
above. And sometimes it could just really be the people around you, but you're just so fixated on chasing people who are really ahead of you. And that's really everything. But another thing that I wouldn't necessarily call a misconception, anything that I wouldn't really call a misconception is that, okay, so, right. So anyway, so I wouldn't really call it a misconception, but I'll say that one of the biggest misconceptions about networking is that people think that it's a short way to success.
Right.
Okay, they just think that, if I network and I just do this, I'll just quickly get this. So they see it as a quick solution to everything. And really that's one of the biggest things about networking. When in actual fact, you want to be in a transformational relationship, not a transactional relationship. If you really want to be able to have long-term growth. Yes, that's what I can say.
Right. And I also want to know, is networking more about quantity, as in having more contacts?
Yeah.
Or it's about having fewer quality ones?
Yeah. In almost every given scenario, quality beats quantity. In almost every given scenario. Quality of experience is better than quantity of experience. Quality of network is better than quantity of network. In any given scenario. So there are so many people who know a lot of people, but what you don't have is that there's something that I teach, is a concept that I teach to people, and we just literally had an event not too long ago, probably about 2 weeks ago, and I was teaching people this, and I call it the wisdom of the needle mover. Now, what that means is that there are some people who have a network and they don't have needle movers. When you see somebody's a needle mover, these are people who are industry heavyweights. They can be able to just say one thing and bam. One word that they will tell you, or one network, literally access to them is an exponential benefit to your life. So a lot of people then have a lot of people who are not needle movers within any industry. These people are just there for the vibes. Okay. Now, when you have people like that, you don't really expect to have business or career growth. So for people who really succeed, look at a lot of rich people. A lot of them may not be popular. A lot of them, or quite a lot of them, are not so popular on social media or know everybody wherever they go. Yet they know very strategic people. They know the needle movers. So they go into a certain place. They're able to get. They make one call. They're able to get one big deal sorted out. They can just place a call for you, and there's a bank already chasing you for this, and everything changes. So it's really about the quality of network. You need to get people who are needle movers. In other words, you need to be around the language of power. You need to be around the language of authority. It's not really about quantity. You could know a lot of people and know nobody. And you could know just a few people and you know everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So quality over quantity, in the network scenario.
Right. Now, is there a difference between personal and professional networking?
Yeah, 100%. So then again, just because the focus of the conversation was towards business and career growth, that's why I was just limiting the scope of the conversation to professional relationships. But networking, you can also network for personal benefits. I mean, that's where we can now go, because, networking is always based on value, okay? There's something I call value dynamics. It's simply just understanding what is valuable to somebody and just being able to serve that purpose of value. So every relationship has some form of value. When people usually talk about value, you're always talking about how it relates to your career or your business growth. But it could be just the person being there for you to listen to your problems. That is some form of value that the person is offering to you. So that is the form of value that lies within the personal relationship scope. It's more about how it can serve your personal purposes. So there's a difference between that, because it's trying to serve your personal purposes, and then professional networking is to serve your professional purposes. Right. So for people, their profession is their business, so that's what they are running. So they network within that space. But however, there are also people who then get to interlock in both of your lives, which is very fantastic. I have a few friends like that who are also in my personal life, and then they are also very significantly involved within my professional life. And that, I think that those are the best relationships, when it's a professional personal relationship. It really helps, and it fosters a very deep connection between you. So yes, they are different.
They're different.
Yeah.
Right. So probably there's somebody listening to us this morning, and the person is saying, "I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
Can I be an effective networker?"
Yeah.
Tell us. I mean, give the person an answer for me.
Right. So it's not really about whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. It depends on the purpose. That's why I began with saying that it's for a definite purpose. Right. So the purpose literally defines the means. Okay, so I'm just trying my best not to enter into a very personal development conversation, because that's really my forte.
Yes, yeah.
But when you are able to define the purpose of something, that's when that's really going to be the motivator for your actions. Okay, so whether you're an introvert or not, for example, if you wanted to, I see introverts who still go for job interviews. I mean, you're an introvert, you don't want to talk, but why do you go for the job interview? Because it serves a purpose. You know that you have to get money to feed your family, to pay for your rent, to do everything that you can. So because there's a purpose there, you go outside of your natural you go outside of your natural habitat zone, or your comfort zone, or the way you're naturally wired to be able to go do that thing. Okay. Right. So it's not really about who you are as a person, it's about what you are trying to accomplish. So you need to really have that definite purpose. And once a lot of people just having established a definite purpose of why they want to network. Okay. So you need to focus on that. Why exactly does networking serve a certain purpose? Okay, if I'm trying to build a business, that means that even though I'm an introvert, come on, I have to start talking to some investors. Come on, I have to start talking to some partners. I need to start talking to suppliers. I need to start talking to strategic stakeholders who can be able to help me to promote whatever I'm doing. Right. So it's not really about who you are as a person. It's really about the purpose. And once you figure out the purpose, it can actually move you out of how you're naturally wired. And that changes the entire ballgame. So if you're an introvert, you have to have a definite purpose for why you're trying to network. Okay. And once you have that, I'm telling you, you even be surprised. You act outside of your natural state state and you actually be a pro at networking. So
Right.
you really need to master the art of networking, whether
Mm.
you are an introvert, whether you're an extrovert, whether you are what type of vet.
All right.
Right.
Any type of events. Well, it's exactly 20 minutes past 9, and this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Trebi Hammond. This morning, I'm talking to Pakwesi Folsing, who is an award-winning public speaker and the executive director for Revolead Solutions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Revolead Solutions. And we're talking about networking, how you can network your way to success in business or career. Now, let's talk about some strategies
Okay.
that you can leverage for building a strong professional network.
Absolutely. With that being said, you first of all have to understand the 3 ways of networking. So there's something called, number 1, direct in-person networking. Number 2, direct online networking. And number 3, referral networking. These are the 3 types of, or these are the 3 ways by which you can network. Direct in-person, direct online, and then referral networking. So direct online is you literally directly texting somebody or you approaching somebody directly online. In-person is you meet the person within a physical setting, and then you approach the person, and then you make an advance and all of that. Number 3 is referral networking, where there's somebody there who is the middleman. So there's always this third party between you and the person you're trying to network with, which most of the time really works. So that's really a very efficient way of networking. But so with that being said, you have to then look at these ways of networking and then pick strategies from there.
Right.
So if I'm trying to network in person, that means that I have to literally work on my communication skills, because that's really the major thing that allows me to be able to network efficiently with a person,
Right.
because the way that you express yourself really matters. The way, because a lot of people have a purpose for why they have a purpose for networking with somebody. They just don't know how to express their thoughts. They just don't know how to express and come to the person and say, they don't even know how to be able to get the person to like them. So for people listening to me, if you are trying to really improve on your networking skills, your communication skills, or your interpersonal skills, then you need to read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's such a wonderful book. It's timeless. You need to read that book. I always tell people that you need to read some of these books if you really want, because it's age-old wisdom, okay, on how to be able to network and have interpersonal conversations with people. So if I'm doing direct in-person networking, I have to be able to master the skills of networking, how to be able to genuinely compliment somebody, how to be able to then use that and form a conversation right on the spot. Me, I know how to make conversations. I'm so good at that. It's something that I've really been good at. I don't know how, but I'm just able to do that. So, and I think that has been able to give me some leverage in the way that I move in my career line within my professional life. So that really helps. But there's also something called direct online. Now, the skills that you have most of the skills that you need for successful direct in-person networking actually also play a part in direct online networking. Just that they just don't get to feel your physical energy. Okay, you know, when you are networking in person, your energy can never ever deceive. If you are shy, it's going to tell. If you are timid, it's going to tell. But when you are online, it removes those barriers. So your words are literally then become your advantage. So in something like that, you should be a master of words. Okay. I always tell people that words are not just a bunch of letters. Words carry destiny, words carry possibility, words carry life, and they carry energy. So these 4 things: words carry destiny, possibility, life, and energy. These 4 things. So just the way that you are able to express your words in the written text really matters. Even sometimes one of the best ways to be able to get, because you know energy is really a big part of being able to establish a connection with somebody. So sometimes when you're trying to network with someone, one of the things that you can do, especially when you're doing direct online thing, is that you want to send a voice note if you can. Just pick, I mean, people like, who's this first? Imagine texting somebody I remember that somebody who sent me a message some time ago, and the very first message the person sent to me was not even a text, it was a voice note. I was compelled to open because this is my very first time talking with you. So what exactly are you telling me? So I just opened it. He said he just really complimented me on everything, and he brought his idea of what he wanted to do. And I was like, oh, that's fine. And I could feel his energy, his enthusiasm, how excited he really was to be able to talk to me. Whether that's fake or not, I don't know. But he tried, and I could feel the energy through his voice. So that's one of the things that can help you. It's one of the easiest ways. And then referral networking. What you want to do is that you want to be able to discover something called mutuals. A lot of people see these things on social media and just don't understand the concept of it. And mutual is not just somebody who, it happens in referral networking too. You need to leverage on your mutual.
Right.
You need to figure out, okay, if there's somebody that, for example, if I didn't know you, Trebi, I have to look for somebody who knows you, who's very well in touch with you. Talk to that person like, hello, can you actually connect me to Trebi? And then it just moves on from there. So once you understand these three things, it helps you. Now, strategies, let me go deep into the strategies. Okay, so these are, I want to give a few strategies. Okay, so the first one that I can give you, if you're trying, and this works mostly when you're trying to network upwardly, is something I call the value given strategy. Now, what does that mean? When you are networking upwardly, you are the one giving value, you are not the one extracting value. This is where a lot of people mess it up. When you are trying to really grow for your business, I don't mind, okay, whether you are using any platform, whether it's LinkedIn, whether when you are trying to network with somebody who is ahead of you within a particular space, within an industry, within a field, within your given spectrum, no matter what the person is, as long as the person is upward, you need to be able to give some form of value. Your job over there, your primary role when it comes to networking upwardly is not to extract the value, is to give the value. So with the value given strategies, what you are trying to do is that you're trying to be able to give the person some form of value.
Right.
What you can do is you can really do two things. Number one, you can participate in whatever the person is doing, so you can help. Because I always tell people that elevation comes from participation. So you can so for example, if I see a lot of people who come to me and say, oh, hello, Pakuzi, they want to be my friends, I'm like, fine, okay. But there are other people who come to me and say, oh, you have an event coming up. How can I volunteer? How can I help you do this?
Right.
That is proper networking. I'm able to actually even establish a deeper connection with the person, because now I'm talking to you. Now you get to talk to me, not because you're my friend, but because of work. And then the work then translates into friendship. And then the friendship translates into something else. And by the time you realize we are very close within a given period of time, that's the way to be able to enter somebody's life. Okay, so you are trying to give the person value. So people who have most of the people that are within my professional, because I have a team, most of them just came to me and they said, how can I help you do this? And then it just went like that. Another way is that a lot of the people who are within that, who are up, if you're trying to network upward, another way to be able to give them value is by inviting them for an opportunity. Okay, so this is something that I've done multiple times, especially when in the past times where I even used to be the president of the business school in Central University and other places. Okay, I've worked at other places. We want to network with somebody. You don't really just come to the door and say, hello, I want to, no. You invite them, for example, for a program. You organize like a webinar. So you can do that. Young people can do that. Like, it's one of the easiest ways. Just put together a webinar. Like a simple webinar, and reach out to the head of EY something.
People want to speak.
They want to be able to express their ideas. They also want to, you see, when you get to a certain point where you are in a place where people network with you upwardly mostly, you tend to then also want to be able to give or network downwards as well. So you want to be able to share the knowledge that you've accrued on your way to the top. So when you give people that opportunity to be able to express that, and you give them the ability to be able to have some form of value in that regard, I'm telling you, it's going to work for you. You want to be able to, that's one of the ways. The easiest way I can give people is webinars. Like, it's the easiest way, because you don't need to have a physical venue. You don't need to do, you just have a Zoom link, have a Google Meet link. That is literally it. A webinar is nothing more than a glorified Zoom meeting. That's really it. And you just set a topic, you invite them, you get a flyer. You can make the flyer on Canva,
yourself.
Or you can just tell one of your graphic design friends to do that.
Yeah.
You network with the person, bring the person on board, and now the person is close to you. I've done that many times for seminars. Even I do. A lot of people, sometimes the people at the top, sometimes they don't even really, depending on who you're networking with, if the person usually gets speaking engagements, if you do a webinar the person may decide to even turn you down. If it's a physical event, it's most likely the person won't turn you down.
That's true.
So we just have a physical event, we bring you, and then by the time you realize I'm able to network with you. Okay,
right.
so that's how it works. So you want to be able to give them some form of value by actually helping them, or by using the webinar strategy, which is part of the value added strategy. So you are giving them value.
Right.
Number two strategy.
We will pause here briefly, and then we come back to
absolutely
that. But I can relate to whatever you are sharing. Far back as 2020, 2021, I was holding some virtual conferences.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was global.
Right.
Because I network with speakers from several parts of the world: America, UK, Canada, several parts of the world.
There's an Indian guy. I see you.
Correct. Yeah, like a lot of people. So I can relate with that very much. But we'll take a spot of music. We'll take a short break. And then when we return, you get into the other strategies you want to share with us. This is still Business Breakfast on Z. Stay tuned.
All lovers to feel the love this Valentine with Love A to Z on ZFM.
We're bringing love to life in every way, whether it's a grand gesture or a simple story.
Share your love moments with us, dedicate your favorite songs, and win amazing prizes along the way.
Tune in to Love A to Z on ZFM 101.9.
From Wednesday the 29th of January to Friday February 14th, you'll have the chance of winning amazing prizes from interactions on all our social media channels.
From BBZ to the brighter side with NYA the brand, and all the way to Highway 1019.
This Valentine, we'll make it every day a day to remember. Tune in, feel the love, and let us make your celebration unforgettable.
Well, thank you for staying with me. This is still Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Ni Trebi Hammond. And this morning, I'm speaking to Kwesi Folsing, who is giving us some very, very good nuggets when it comes to networking. Pa, you were just telling us, you were just giving us some strategies that could be used. And you spoken about the value addition strategy and a host of other ones. Let's get into some more. You wanted to talk about one particular one.
I wanted to speak about the strategic visibility strategy.
Right.
Okay, so this is something that I've really leveraged on. And when I'm talking about strategic visibility, I'm talking about one thing that has been popularized over the past few years, which is building a personal brand. Okay, so with this way, people, it's also about value, but people get to have a taste of your value in advance. So they get to feel the type of value that you have by virtue of what you do online. So it's very strategic. So, for example, how have I done this over the past few times? So way before I even joined LinkedIn, I was that's why when some people tell me that, oh yeah, LinkedIn. No, I was coaching way before LinkedIn. I was training and speaking way before LinkedIn. So the whole thing is this: for example, I came on LinkedIn and I was sharing tips on leadership because at the time I was leading a group of people as the president of the Central University Business School. Then I also shared tips on public speaking because I'm able to coach people on how to be able to speak. I've really been doing that for some time. And then, so when I come there and I start sharing these things, now people see my stuff and they comment. Now, when they comment, some of them also send me text messages, and now they get to know who I am. So that literally opens a door for you. As a network, okay, it may not be direct. However, it's really exposing you. It's giving you visibility. Okay.
Right.
And it's not just giving you visibility, but it's giving you visibility to the people who want what you have. Okay. So for example, if I'm going to talk about public speaking, I'm going to talk about how to be able to be a very good MC like you do. People who are not interested in that topic are not going to resonate with your post.
Right.
Okay. So it's going to actually help you build a very streamlined network with people who are actually going to open opportunities for you within the giving sphere that you want. Because
Right.
sometimes you can network with people who are not strategic in any way, shape, or form. So you're just networking with them, but they are not within your industry. They are not within your space. So you end up adding them to your network, but they don't bring any direct benefit to your life.
Right.
When you do strategic visibility by building a personal brand, what happens is you are able to build a type of network that can exponentially give you some form of benefit to your personal or business growth. So one of the things that you need to do if you're listening to me is that you need to be able to build a personal brand. Like, it's so critically essential within this age. So important. It's tremendously important, literally. I can't even overemphasize or emphasize on this, literally, in any way. In any given space, you need to build a personal brand, especially in the digital age, whereby we have the ability to be able to leverage on platforms. You know, before the new media era, which is where we are in with social media and everything, if you want to be able to leverage on any form of media, you have to directly go and pay. Like, if you're trying to advertise on the newspaper, you have to buy a full paper, and then you are literally advertising your products. But now we have social media, which serves as a leverage to you. Okay. I mean, I joined TikTok not too long ago. When I joined TikTok, I made a post. Within that post just got like 6,000 views. I'm like, hey, really? That's wild. Like 6,000 human beings. Think about that. So if I'm able to then strategically build myself in a way whereby I'm able to exponentially grow my network that way, I'll end up, number one, the only thing about strategic visibility is that sometimes you only get deceived by the quantity, thinking you have quality.
Right.
So you may have a lot of people within your network, and they may not necessarily be the quality people that you may need. However, sometimes the good thing about quantities too, and that's the advantage quantity has, is that's one of the advantages quantity has, is that it's going to, it increases how I'm going to explain this concept, but when I have a larger group of people, or have a larger, I want to use this word. It's used in research. It's just escaping my mind right now.
Population?
Population. This is population I want to use. There's another word. It's just not come to my brain. Anyway, let's just stick with population, right? Let's stick with population. You're trying to figure it out. Don't worry. Don't worry. If it comes to me, I'll say it.
Right,
okay,
sure.
so let's stick with population. Okay. So, for example, if I have 20,000 people within my network, there are going to be some 5 quality people inside.
Right.
Just I'm saying, if nothing, okay.
Yeah.
So, in comparison to somebody who just has a strictly quality network, the more you also build the quantity, you end up getting more quality than you ever than you actually plan to have. So sometimes quality can increase the quantity can increase the quality, but just that you just end up having an excess of people who may not necessarily be quality, but you still have some quality people inside of your network. So that's why some people who do have personal brands are able to then, you see them get opportunities. It's just because within the quantity of the people, there are a few quality stuff that help you to be able to, still good in another way, still to just build your strategic visibility and just have that network. Because the more that I'm able to expand my network in terms of quantity, I'm able to have a few people who are quality within that, and that gives me an advantage. So that's what I can say for now.
Okay, great. So when you were speaking earlier, you talked about the direct in-person approach, right? I want to know, how do you approach someone directly? I mean, someone you admire professionally, without appearing, I mean, without feeling awkward, basically. So how do you do that?
Then again, it boils down back to the art of networking. Really, it really boils down to that. So one of the things that you may want to do is that, first of all, you need to understand people. Okay, everybody psychologically has a need for appreciation and validation. So the very first thing that you need to do is that you need to validate whatever they're doing.
Okay.
Quite literally. So you go to them and then you don't just, like, you have to let them know that you know who exactly they are.
Right.
Sometimes you go to some people, and because some people actually do feel important, okay? Now, when you go to somebody who feels important, you have to be able to acknowledge the person's importance. The moment you don't do that, you've already, number one, you've offended them. By the way, it's like you are treating them like somebody who they are not. Okay, you don't meet. That's why some of these people have titles. So when you meet the president, you don't just go and don't just go to the president and you're just, hello Mahama. Hey, who told you that? They will put you. He will just look at you some way. Right. You have to address the person according to the person's importance. So in other words, you are validating what the person has. You are acknowledging who the person is. So you come there and say, His Excellency John Mahama. It doesn't matter whether you are whoever, you first of all need to do that. So you come to the person, you say, oh, hello. You could just come with a little compliment. Oh, hello. I see the work that you do as a partner of maybe so and so company.
Right.
Once you go there and you do that, first of all, it tells the person that, okay, you know exactly who you're talking to. You know the gravity of who I am. And then that opens the door for you, because first of all, you know that, okay, you're familiar with whoever I am. So one of the things that you need to do in an in-person strategy is that you need to be able to get some information beforehand about the person.
Okay.
A lot of people don't do that. I remember quite some time last year, I had the opportunity. Last year, I went for one of the summits, 3i Africa Summit. Yeah. And that summit, I don't even know, like, so many people just went to that summit without even knowing people. I was just like, that summit had literally Patricia Obona just walking around. I'm like, how is this woman walking around? Nobody is seeing who she is. I'm wondering. And when we closed, there was this lady, very, very big, people were just passing. I'm like, hey, whoa, you've not seen do you know who this person is? So I knew who the person is, thankfully, okay? I just quickly opened my LinkedIn, just search something on the person, so I have a little advantage, okay? And then I just walked up to the person. I validated who the person was. I mentioned this particular thing. Like, oh wow, I see. And then immediately we just spoke. After we just finished speaking, she's like, okay, I have to go right now. Just give me your card. Just give me this and da da da. Wow. Do you know when the person left? Her driver just came, opened the door. It was a door to a Maybach. This is literally. And now people are just there walking around, passing, and you don't even know who that is. So you need to be able to. So the fact that I came to the person and validated who the person was, she knew that I'm not just talking to a random person. Exactly. I'm not just some aimless person doing it. It's for a definite purpose. I know who I'm talking to. So that gives me the opportunity to be able to now step. So first of all,
that calls for research.
I
mean, if you are attending any event at
all. Networking is strategy. It's a strategy, literally. You don't just... networking is not just adding people into your connections. That's why I said it's for a definite purpose. It's for... Like, it calls for some form of focus that it comes like you need a focused approach, especially if you're trying to grow. That's why if the purpose is for growing, especially for business or career purposes, you just want to have these people within your network. You need to be able to do some research.
Right.
Okay. Anything that is worthwhile has research backing it. Anything. Right. I mean, a project, a business. So you need to, if you are trying to network for something that is worthwhile to you, you need to be able to really research. Now, when you research, then you move deeper into everything. So you first of all, you get the compliments, you validate who they are. Then you have to find something of a common ground with them. Okay, so you have to find something. I don't know what it is, but you need to find something. Even if you are trying to even technically reach. Maybe you're not really a finance person, but you try and have this little force yourself to have a little finance conversation. That's why it's really important to at least know a little bit about everything. You can be a subject matter expert in whatever you're doing, but you need to have your hands on like every little part of everything. Okay, so you may not be the best at politics or the best at finance. I'm not the best at finance, really. But if you're asking me some questions about cryptocurrency, I could probably tell you something. Exactly. Right. I could tell you my 2 cents on it. And then you get to say, oh, okay, I see. Then you also need, if you're doing that, you need to what you need to do is that there's a general rule of thumb that when you're networking with somebody, you need to 75% give them the opportunity to speak, and then you do. 75% of the time you have to do the listening, and 25% of the time you do the talking.
Right.
So it's a general rule of thumb. 75% of the time you do the listening, 25% of the time you do the talking.
Right.
Okay, so once you do that, you give the person the opportunity to express their ideas, let them talk. People love to be able to talk and express themselves. Okay, research proves that. So you need to be able to do that, and that will really help you. So
okay,
and
great.
the way, and for let me just say this. So the way to be able to get them to be able, if you want to do a lot of the listening, the only way to be able to do that is by asking questions. So you have to get better at asking questions. So I mean, when you have that chance to interact with any form of generative AI like ChatGPT, if ChatGPT is not just going to automatically just talk to you, you need to prompt it. We are not AI as human beings, but it's the same thing.
Right.
If you want to be able to get them to do the talking, you need to prompt
them to be able
big
to
strategy.
Excellent strategy.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's 9:45. We have just about 10 minutes to
okay,
go.
That's fine.
And so I want us to get into the LinkedIn conversation.
Absolutely.
But if you're tuned in, this is Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nee Trebi Hammond. And this morning, we're having a conversation with Pakwesi Folsing.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how you can leverage networking for business and career success. You can join a conversation on 0544321019, 0544321019, or you can as well check us on our social media platform at ZFMGH on Instagram, Facebook, and X, ZFMGH. And we are live on YouTube as well at Z Multimedia. You may want to check and drop a comment or a question. If there's anything you need Pakwesi to touch on for you, just reach out to us and we'll give you the opportunity. Now, Pa, let's go to LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn has become the platform. I think the basic idea or the reason behind the creation of LinkedIn was for professionals to be able to connect.
Absolutely.
Right. But over the period, we've seen all kinds of things going on.
Yeah.
And these days, they're even bringing reels and all of that.
Yeah.
It's a whole crazy thing. But let's focus on that briefly. How has LinkedIn changed the way we network?
Yeah, absolutely. It's changed everything. LinkedIn was started by one guy called Reid Hoffman, and Reid Hoffman's.
I spoke about him a while ago.
Oh, really?
This conversation.
I see.
Yeah.
So Reid Hoffman's idea of everything was that how he was trying to be able to make it easier for people to network with people and build connection. That's why on LinkedIn you don't really call it followers. I mean, we have followers on LinkedIn, but the major thing is being able to connect. You're trying to connect. Just that people now think of it in a very superficial manner when it's actually deeper. When you connect with somebody, you have to be able to have a real connection with them, actually. So that's really about everything. So LinkedIn was a platform. So if you listen to me, I don't know, LinkedIn is simply a social media app. Let me just put that out there, by the way, just so that you don't think, a lot of people just think LinkedIn is a place for jobs, which is actually not the thing. It's more a place for networking. But it's just because they understand that networking fuels opportunities. And so if I'm able to network, I'm able to get opportunities. So on LinkedIn, a lot of people just want to straight out apply. And a lot of people are applying for jobs and applying for opportunities and stuff. It's cool to do that. I mean, you can do that in a Works. I know a couple of people that have helped do that in a Work. Okay, fine. But the easiest way to be able to get consistent opportunities is by you getting better at networking using LinkedIn. So LinkedIn gives you, the thing about LinkedIn is this, and LinkedIn is such a wonderful place. You may not see, for example, like there's this man, Seloma Dadivo. I don't find him on Instagram. When I first joined LinkedIn, I saw he was one of the people that I used to see on my timeline, and I'm like, wow, this guy. I looked for him on Instagram. I didn't find him because I was using Instagram at the time. And I checked LinkedIn and he was there. He had a lot of followers because in the professional world, he's rated. Yes, connections, exactly. He's rated. Okay, so if you see him on Instagram, he'll probably have like 200 followers. You think, this guy is probably a nobody. What do you mean a nobody? He's almost like probably even like 100,000 followers on LinkedIn. So connections on LinkedIn. So it's really that. So LinkedIn gives you the opportunity to be able to see the people who are within, especially within the career and corporate space. You get to be able to see who they are, and then you can easily network with them from that point of view. So how do you go about LinkedIn? Number one is that you need to optimize your profile. Right. It's so necessary. You need to do that. You need to be able to get your profile straight, because now if I'm texting you, it's just the way I present myself. Okay, because ultimately, networking is just the way about this. One of the things that helps in networking is how you present yourself. If in person, you don't want to go to somebody and talk to them if you're not looking nice, if not dressed properly, you're not dressed decently, you don't want to do that online. your online dressing is you optimizing your professional LinkedIn profile.
Right.
So if you're trying to network on LinkedIn, you need to dress your page up. You need to make sure your page looks great.
Looks good,
How do you
yeah.
do that? Let me just give some quick tips for
Yeah,
people listening
very
to me.
important.
First of all, you need to get a very profile head. You need to get a very good profile headshot, preferably from your chest up. Okay,
Right.
so don't take a picture of you holding a hand with your friend or something, a distant picture. We need to be able to see your face. We need to be able to see all the pimples on your face. I'm just joking, but like we need to see your face up close. Like we
Right.
need to really see who you are. Then you need to be able to get your banner picture. There's something called a banner. Now, I always tell people on LinkedIn that your banner is your free billboard. Just how you see billboards on the streets, on LinkedIn, when you have a banner, you can actually write a value commanding statement that can be able to allow you to get opportunities. Then your headline. Your headline section is the very first write-up on your LinkedIn page. So this is where you write your titles, who you are, and what kind of value that you give people. Okay, so you can either write a sentence, let's say, I help people do this, and then you add your titles later. Or you could just put titles like, Trebi, I'm a radio presenter at ZFM. As simple as that. So you can have that. Then you have to have something called an about section. LinkedIn has added a summary section whereby you can write about yourself. So whenever somebody tries to network with me, I go on their page and then I go and read about you. If you don't have anything about you, I probably may not even open your message anymore. I probably may not respond to you. It's the same thing that happens. And because I have been able to dress my page properly, and I have my about section whereby when you read about me, you're like, this guy has really done a lot of things. He has really accomplished a lot. Now, when you read that, the way you even talk to me now changes. And ever since I was able to like really build up my page to a very high level, it has made networking so smooth and easy for me. Like a lot of people that I text, most of the time it's almost like an 80% rate of them responding to me, 80% response rate. So that means that in giving like every 10 messages, I probably get about 8 of them responding back to me and 2 of them not. So that increases my chances. So you need to fix your profile picture, your headline, your banner, and your about section. The rest of the things, your experience, your school, you can always add that, and then your skill section, that's really about it. So you need to do that. Then after you have that, you can connect with people on LinkedIn, and then you send them a text. So once they accept a connection request, you can send them a message, a very good message, given the formula that I've already taught you, validate who they are, then you find a common ground, and then you present whatever idea you have, and then you sign out. As simple as that, they're going to respond to you, and you make magic. Yeah.
Wow, it's quite unfortunate we have very limited time, and we should definitely do a part 2 of this.
Absolutely, we should do that. We should do that. And by the way, I just want to say, one big mistake that people make when they're networking is that they don't beforehand try to define what they are trying to. I mean, I'm talking about like actually defining what the relationship is. Is this
I was
going to
actually
be
coming to that.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you that. Should people just, because I see a lot of people trying to connect with everybody on LinkedIn.
Right.
And people pride in themselves. I mean, pride in the numbers they have on LinkedIn. I have 5K connections. I have.
Right.
Is it really about just connecting with everybody, or you have to be selective?
You have to be selective. That's why like you have to be selective about that. Then again, is what for if it's for business or career growth, you have to be selective. You are just trying to. If you don't have a purpose for that, you will just do anything and. If you are just doing anything, there's nothing you're going to do. But however, let me connect this. When you're connecting with people, you need to be able to define like the purpose, like not just the purpose, but who they are, what category of people are they? Are they going to be a transactional person or a transformational person? That's what you need to really define. Because even Jesus, let me just say this. You see, when Jesus came, Jesus literally defined, or even Adam. When God, one of the first tasks God gave Adam in the Bible was that he allowed him to name things. He put a tag on things, okay? So you need to be able to put a tag on the type of relationship that you are building. Is this going to be transformation? Is this going to be transactional? Is this just going to be solely perfect? Like, you need to actually put a tag on them. That tag really helps you, because the whole thing is this. Anything that you don't define will never align, and anything that you do define will never be a waste of time.
Maybe you should repeat that.
Anything that you do not define will never align, and anything that you do define will never be a waste of time.
Okay.
So you need to really define, like put a tag on whatever you're trying to do. Put a tag on that, and that will literally help you do something on LinkedIn. So then again, as to what you said, it's not just about the numbers on LinkedIn. I'm not just trying to connect to anybody. If you really want business or career growth, boy, you've got to be selective about who you're talking to. Boy, you've got to be selective about who's in your network, because that really amplifies everything. And it literally changes the entire ball game for you when it comes to networking on LinkedIn. If you're trying to get a job, my guy, you need to start networking with recruiters. You need to start, not only recruiters, on LinkedIn there's a way and this is just a free strategy for anybody. If you are trying to work in a particular company, for example, if I want to work in ZFM, there's a LinkedIn page. All I need to do is just go to open your page, I type people, I look for HR, and then I connect with your HR person or your recruiter. Now, the person is within my network now. For example, if I can decide to do two things, I can either message the person, or now the person is part of my network, I start posting content that reveals who I am, my real substance. For example, so if I know I'm coming to work here and I'll start talking about radio and how to be good at interviews and everything, and the HR person now see me and say, this guy he talks about interviews and stuff. Can we bring him into our company and interview him and then see what this person is made up of? And it changes the entire ball game for everything.
Right.
So that's what you can do, and it changes everything, I promise you. So that's what I can tell you, literally.
Very, very important things you mentioned there. I want us to, there are a lot of things I want us to talk about on LinkedIn. Yeah. But how do you turn an online connection, right, into an offline relationship?
Okay.
Or business opportunity?
Absolutely.
Maybe we can end on that.
So you need to give the ask. Really, you need to be bold. There's no magic between everything. There's no magic behind everything. You need to really give the ask. So what you need to do is that you need to first of all have a good online conversation first. Okay.
Right.
Now, once you have that, you just let them know that on so and so date, I'm going to be over here. I think it would be great if we could meet and discuss and have lunch during one of your lunch breaks. Because first of all, you just have to be able to first of all recognize that the person's time is very important to the person. Okay, so the moment you acknowledge that, you may be busy doing so and so, but it would be great if you can steal a conversation during this time, and the person just, it happens. So most of the offline connections that I've made, it happens for me being in a cafe. Like on LinkedIn, we just meet in a cafe and talk, discuss ideas, and most of them have turned into very beautiful, blissful opportunities. Right. So that's what you want to do. Just give the ask. Tell them, but you have to have something worthwhile, okay, that you're going to be talking about. Okay, so you can tell them that, you have this opportunity that you have, or it will be great to just discuss so and so ideas that are common to both of you, and you'll be able to do that. So just give the ask. Just after you have a very good brief conversation online, just tell them that, it will be great to meet you in person. Where are you? And just meet them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a great conversation.
Absolutely.
It's just that we have very limited time.
Absolutely.
And so maybe I should take your final thoughts.
Okay.
Or maybe one piece of advice you want to give to a business person or somebody who wants to grow in their career.
Okay. So
using networking.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, there's this popular saying, your network is what? Your net worth. Okay. Right. But really, a lot of people, networking, if you want to achieve success in life, it's not really about what you know, it's about who you know, and it's about who knows you. Let me say that again. If you want to achieve success in life, it's not really about what you know, it's about who you know and who knows you. Sometimes it's not just about who you know, it's also about who knows you. You need to be able to put yourself in a place whereby people can also know you, because you can't know everybody in the world, but a lot of people, everybody in the world possibly can know you. Not almost everybody, but like technically almost everybody. Okay. So what you need to do is that you need to be able to figure out, transcend from the place of you just being a subject matter expert and start trying to get people within your space. You need to be able to, if you want to grow, if you want to increase or flourish, as we spoke about grow on, which is grow, then you need to be able to have people, within your space, because everybody, let me just say this way. I want to put it in a particular way, but everything rises and falls on networking. Your next level is in your next connection that you make. Right. Really. So your next level is in the next connection that you make. So the place that you want to be, somebody else is going to put you there. Even your money is in somebody else's pocket. So it's really about that. So you just really need to get strategic people into your network in your life. And I'm telling you, it's going to exponentially increase everything that you want and grow your business and your career in ways that you never imagined or fathomed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. You've given us a lot of value. We have to do, producer, please facilitate that for me. We need to have part 2. I don't know whether tomorrow, if tomorrow doesn't work for you, sometime within a week or maybe next week.
Absolutely.
And then let's go more, into details with that. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so grateful that you came.
You're welcome.
Well, that's how we wrap up today's show here on Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitrebi Hammond. It's been a great conversation with Pakwesi Folsom. We've been talking about leveraging networking for business and career success. And I believe that you've gained some value. You can check the video out on our YouTube at Z Multimedia or on our Facebook platform at ZFMGH. Please keep it logged in here on Z101.9 FM. Up next,